holding a VHS copy of the top-grossing film in 1985, Back to the Future, starring Scott Howard and star of The Michael J. Fox Show, Michael J. Fox. Uncle Fester and Judge Doom himself, Christopher Lloyd.
Who knows if they got cotton underwear in the future? I'm allergic to all synthetics.
Willard and Stain, the Knave of Hearts, Crispin Glover.
Okay, really ties. Okay, Dick, can you pick up my boss?
And Coach Ben Fredericks, Tom Wilson as Biff.
I have your car towed all the way to your house, and all you got for me is light beer?
In the time it takes to rewind this tape, I'm going to answer all of your futuristic questions. Like, why do you keep calling me Calvin?
Well, that is your name, isn't it? Calvin Klein? It's written all over your underwear.
So, Biff, I'm assuming your insurance will pay for the accident?
My insurance? It's your car. Your insurance should pay for it. I want to know who's going to pay for this. I spilled beer all over when that car smashed into me. Who's going to pay my cleaning bill?
Hey, Huey Lewis, how does our band sound?
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
And Doc, what can people expect from this episode of VHS Breakdown?
You're gonna see some serious shit.
I answer all of these and more on today's episode of VHS Breakdown. Which reminds me, I'm late for band practice. I'm Miguel Jose. I own a ton of movies, but they're all on VHS. No one wants to buy them. I can't even give them away. So I'm gonna watch these films and break them down one last time.
My name is Lorraine. Lorraine Baines?
Yeah. But you're so thin.
So I just watched the tape, and the first thing I'm wondering is, does anyone have a problem with Marty's relationship with this crazy old man?
This so-called Dr. Brown is dangerous. He's a real nutcase. You hang around with him, you're going to end up in big trouble.
I mean, Marty's just a teenager. Why does he have the key to this guy's house?
Doc.
And Doc likes to set up shady late-night meetings at the mall.
Can you meet me at Twin Pines Mall tonight at 1:15?
Not to mention that Doc steals plutonium from Libyan terrorists.
Wait a minute, 1:15 in the morning?
Doc is a very talented inventor, although I will say his automatic breakfast making machine has got nothing on Pee Wee Herman's. But Marty leaves for school, and we find out that it was okay in the 80s to ride your skateboard around town hanging onto cars, even cop cars. So Marty gets to school when we meet his girlfriend Jennifer, who at this point in the franchise wasn't played by Daniel LaRusso's ex-girlfriend Elizabeth Shue, as Claudia Wells played her in the first film. We also meet the principal, Mr. Strickland.
You're a slacker. Do you want to be a slacker for the rest of your life?
The kind of motivational speaker that parents today would love to know is in charge of their kids.
No McFly ever amounted to anything in the history of Hill Valley.
Then we meet Marty's family, and holy balls are they one depressing bunch. His brother works at Burger King, his sister's a mess,
That was so stupid.
and his mom's clearly an alcoholic.
We all make mistakes in life, children.
And oh yeah, to top it all off, Marty's dad's a peeping Tom.
What, Lorraine?
He's a peeping Tom!
He's a peeping Tom.
We find this out later in the movie when Marty is talking to his dad in 1955 and all of a sudden George McFly runs out of the diner. And why does George McFly rush out of that diner? Is it because he's late for work? Nope. It's so that he can climb a tree and stare at Marty's mom getting changed through binoculars. That's one classy move, buddy. And speaking of dysfunctional families, why did Lorraine decide to make a cake for their little family dinner? Because it was going to be a celebration for her brother who was just getting out of jail.
Your Uncle Joey didn't make parole again.
They never say what it's for, but I'm guessing it's either he was also a peeping Tom or probably worse. Although, in Michael J. Fox's defense, this isn't the first time he's had to deal with a troubled uncle.
Let me tell you something, buddy. I'm drunk.
But Marty goes to meet up with Doc at the Twin Pines Mall, and we finally get a look at that sweet-ass time machine.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
And Doc tells Marty about his plans for when he goes into the future.
I've always dreamed of seeing the future, looking beyond my years, seeing the progress of mankind.
But wait, he wants to find out sports scores?
I'll also be able to see who wins the next 25 World Series.
Isn't the entire plot of Back to the Future 2 about how the world ends as we know it because Marty's trying to get rich with the sports almanac? Way to be a hypocrite, guy. But then the Libyan terrorists show up.
Holy shit!
And I'm not sure what gibberish they're yelling, but I'm pretty sure it's not Libyan. And I should also mention, that's a Saudi headdress that they're wearing. It's not Libyan. So even for terrorists, this portrayal seems pretty racist. But the Libyans kill Doc, Marty pieces out in the DeLorean, and the next thing we know, we're back in 1955, where a bunch of wacky stuff starts happening.
Take that, you mutated son of a bitch!
And if you notice, when Marty's driving away from the barn, he knocks over one of the pine trees, which is why at the end of the movie, it's called the Lone Pine Mall instead of the Twin Pines Mall. Then we meet 1955 Biff Tannen. And if William Zabka was king of the 80s bullies,
Well, I wouldn't break my arm patting myself on the back if I were you.
then Biff was clearly the biggest bag of 50s douche there is.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think McFly.
Biff even has his own crew, which if you notice even has a young Billy Zane, years before he tried to kill Leo on the Titanic. Although speaking of Biff's crew, why does that one guy wear 3D glasses? What is he, tripping balls? Or maybe he's just trying to keep a low profile after that big fight in 3 O'Clock High. And again, we already know that Marty's dad's a peeping Tom. But did anyone else notice Lorraine's dad mentioning that this wasn't the first time he hit a kid with his car?
Another one of these damn kids jumped in front of my car!
I mean, for real. How many kids in the neighborhood have climbed up that tree and seen Marty's mom naked? And speaking of his mom, did you all catch that nonsense she was spewing about how she never used to drink or hang out in parked cars with boys?
I never chased a boy or called a boy or sat in a parked car with a boy.
I mean, Marty's growing up thinking his mom's a saint,
I think the woman was born a nun.
when half the kids in town have seen her goodies.
I'm not that kind of girl.
Well, maybe you are and you just don't know it yet.
I mean, let's be honest. Marty's mom's a real pervert. I mean, when Marty wakes up, he clearly hit his head. So why does he wake up without any pants on?
Ha! Where are my pants?
I guarantee, if this situation was reversed and some girl woke up after a head injury not wearing any pants, she'd probably call the cops. Apparently she took off his pants while he was unconscious. I'm guessing so she could examine his other head injury.
How's your head?
I gotta go. I gotta go.
So Lorraine ends up having a crush on her son. So once again we end up with a decent amount of incest for an 80s comedy. Although in her defense, at least Lorraine didn't know that Marty was her son. Marty, on the other hand, is fully aware, yet he still comes up with a plan that involves aggressively trying to get on top of his mother.
You see us struggling in the car.
You might want to rethink that plan, creepo. Well, looks like the tape's done rewinding. But wait, we didn't even talk about the dance yet, or the band full of potheads, or the porno theater in the middle of town. I need more time!
Wait a minute. I got all the time I want. I got a time machine.
Tell me, doctor, where are we going this time? Is this the 50s?
This movie's ridiculous.